ladies and gentlemen, and the boys and girls in the room. Welcome to the Bob Doyle Show, and you know what to do, right? You need to click subscribe. And, oh, that's terrible. Hold on. You need to subscribe. You need to subscribe and click the bell. Why do we want to do this? Why all the clicking? Why all the belling? Because after today, if this is your first time here, which obviously it is if this applies to you, because hold on. We like to hear the theme, you know, the Bob Doyle Show, and all, because we don't have enough reminders on the screen. You got 2 images of me at all times and my name, and you're probably going to see it again. Look, I think I have an ego problem. I mean, look, when you're in the entertainment industry, it's hard not to get, you know, an inflated ego. I mean, you walk outside, and it's like any minute now, you know, the throngs are going to come in, the throngs of people, which throngs is a fun word. Throngs of people. Bob Doyle Show, Bob Doyle Show. I do remember episode 41 when you did the dog thing, and I'm like, I did a lot of dog things. I don't remember, but thank you. And we sign autographs and all that. But I'm just saying that the celebrity lifestyle can be tricky. Let's go see who's in the room. Well, look at this. The room isn't quite full. Not sure what happened. Something in the system broke, but we do have Sarah and Kathy and Lisbeth and Mr. Magnet. And Tawny and Leanne and Murray, Murray, you're a sport. And Dan and Patty are here, or one or the other. I don't know. I like to picture them sitting huddled next to each other. You know, just kind of, you know, all right, Bob's on. Let's get a little closer, a little closer. I can't see now. Okay, sorry. You know, and it's like, and then probably one of them, like, I don't know which one. It could be Dan. I have no idea. But one person is the one who constantly talks and asks questions. You know, it's like, why is he asking? Why is he interviewing that? Shh, let's just watch. Can we just watch? Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And why has he got the microphone in front? I mean, couldn't he just move it this much so it's not seen? Let him do his thing. And then you miss the whole content, you guys. So let's just try and stay focused. So if you're watching this with a friend, I think you need to just have the established agreement. You know, don't ask questions till after. And if you got questions, ask Bob so that he can ask the guest, Bob Doyle, from The Secret. Now, in case you didn't know, that's who the guest is. But I'm sure that's the only reason you're here. You know, it's for the guests. It's certainly not for this 10 minutes where I sit here and go, blah, 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 Dan and Patty squish, you know. You're here for the content. But the thing is I make you wait for it. All right, so now we know. So it's Dan and Patty, and Dan is making breakfast for Patty. So right now it's not really an issue, except that Dan's missing all of this because he's in the kitchen. So I think what we should do is just wait. I mean, you know. But here's the thing. It's just a gentle reminder. When you show up to the show, be ready. Have the meal, you know. You start planning. Look, I go live at 7:30. This is my part of being prepped and ready. I come on live on Facebook, and I say, hey, everybody, remember, 8 o'clock? So, you know, at that time, I've got my coffee, oh, by the way, I found my glasses. Do you know, and I'm going to tell you something because it's appropriate because of our guest today. So I'm running around like my chicken with a head cut off. Look, I dare not go down this road, but my chicken does have 9 heads. One of them, anyway, that's a topic for another show, but it does make life happier for people. Why am I smiling? Because why not? That's what this show is about. Never underestimate the value of a smile. That's our, again, if you're new, musical catchphrase. And again, if you're new, if you're sitting on the fence, get off the fence and subscribe and click subscribe. The bell. Just click something. If you're sitting there not clicking, get with the program. It's the internet. You're supposed to click. Let's see what's going on here. Murray is smiling, Leanne. All right, everybody's cool and groovy. I'm making that assumption. Some of you may be one or the other. But there's no way that you're not at least one if you're here. So anyway, Bob Doyle Show. I'm sorry, I get confused. Bob Doyle from The Secret, and I can't find my glasses this morning, and I'm like, I can't see. If you saw my live on Facebook, you were probably feeling the anxiety through the internet. Like, oh, this guy, he is going to go off the rails. This is not good. He's going to lose his mind in the middle of an interview with a big-time celebrity. I can't even watch this train wreck. So what did I do? I'm going to tell you what I did. I sat down on the floor because the floor was there. There wasn't a chair right there, and I wanted to do this now. I took action. I think you're supposed to do that. We're going to ask him about that. And I imagined myself feeling my glasses on my face. Now, I just want you to know, I looked everywhere. Okay. All morning and last night. Glasses on my face, feeling them, seeing it, knowing that everything's going to be fine. I'll be able to read the comments. I won't look like this. And here we are. That's a true story, ladies and gentlemen. That's the true story alarm. It goes off every time I tell a true story. You'll notice it doesn't go off very much. Look, that's not true. See, it didn't go off. Yeah. That's what we do here. So again, the 10 minutes up front is that you just have to, I'm sorry. Look, I could bring him in anytime. Anytime. But I choose to have you sit here and get comfortable and maybe a little uncomfortable. Look, if you can't get out of your comfort zone, there's no growth. This show is about growth among so many other things I say it's about whenever it occurs to me to say it and it applies. Today, it's about growth and stuff. At least right now. Later, I'm sure it'll be about the law of attraction or whatever this guy wants to talk about. It just evolves, but it's all about making the world, and you, starting with you, a happier place. We're going to make you a happier place, okay? Like Population Happyville. I'm sorry. Now I have to... Welcome to Happyville, Population You. That's what I was going for. Unfortunately, I just fell down the steps. I fell down the verbal step. Boom, 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 boom. And I said whatever I said. So Lisbeth says I'm looking good this early morning. Thank you, Lisbeth. That's very nice of you to say. I'm sure that wherever you are, you're looking good too. It's just, I don't think my show appears to anyone who's not absolutely drop-dead gorgeous in their own way. Because look, everything is beautiful in its own way. I just made that up. All right, now it's time for the weekly harmonica lesson. So pick up your harmonica. Do you have it? Good. Because if you're not, Dan, do you have yours? Are you and Patty still sharing? Because it doesn't work. I mean, you could try a harmonica duet. Has that been done? I think you two should be the first one. But you got to have, like, this is a small harmonica, and your lips would have to be, I don't know if it could be done. But if you get one of those long ones with, like a chromatic harmonica. Let's get on with the lesson. We're getting way too stuck on Dan and Patty. It's like normally people pay like $2,500 for this kind of product placement, and he's only paying me $900. He gets the Dan and Patty special. I don't know why. Look, as soon as I put that offer out there, they jumped on it. I said, this is ridiculous, and I retracted the offer. Nobody else gets in here this kind of product placement for less than $2,500. So that was a recap of last week's lesson. Blow into the harmonica to make the noise. Now, I know that's a lot, so we're not going to add to that lesson this week. We're just going to let you keep practicing that, all right? And then we'll come back and then we'll learn. We'll learn other aspects. I promise. That's the Bob Doyle guarantee. I see what Sarah did here. I do. I remember saying that word instead of another word, that because this isn't that kind of show most of the time. Do you know what I mean? Okay, good. As long as you know what I mean, we're good. Now we're right up at 8:09. So now I have to stop this fa and get right into it. But before, we've sort of started this impromptu tradition, and who doesn't love a good tradition? Besides you, I don't know what your problem is. Traditions are fun. Would you just have fun with life? Come on, that's what this show is about. Just come up with a tradition, any tradition. Like, how about starting with every Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock, I watch the Bob Doyle Show. That's a good tradition. It's been in my family for weeks. 4 weeks, actually. I don't know. I can't remember. I have to go back. The show's been around forever. You're getting me sidetracked. It's probably because it's all this moving around. Find a seat and stay there. It's like I see these heads, it's like blah, 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 and I just assume you're talking to each other, not listening to me. It's just distracting. I wouldn't come to your show and mull all around and eat popcorn and, play with cellophane wrappers and all that other stuff like you're doing. Look, I'm sorry. I shouldn't take this out on you. I was a little stressed before about the classes, and I think I've still just got to work some of that out. Maybe some processing. I'll do some EFT. Refer to 2 shows ago. Or maybe some hypnosis. Refer to last week's show. See how it's just marketing genius. It's just cross-promotion. I know you're sitting there going, how does he do it? Dan's over there taking notes. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. Actually, he's probably saying, Patty, write this down. This is good stuff. Okay. That's only funny to me, and I don't know who else. Probably no one. So anyway, the making of the show. Like last week we shared something. Oh yeah, how the artwork was chosen, because we got all these moving parts that make this spectacular happen. I mean, it's not just me. I couldn't manage all of this. Getting guests, deciding how many guests, doing the artwork. I just show up. I just show up and I sit here and I talk for an hour, and then everything's taken care of for me. So, this idea of getting this guest, because I think it was like, how do we follow up Steve G. Jones? How do we follow up Steve G. Jones? Well, there's only one person who could possibly follow it up. And I'm like, who? And they're like, well, Bob Doyle from The Secret. I'm like, sounds familiar, right? So, anyway, I'm like, look, I trust you guys, whatever, just make sure that he can bring it. You know what I'm saying? And also, he's interesting or whatever. So then, well, you're going to see, but you'll see. So we got it. But I'm going to share the process, a little behind the scenes of how the guest is acquired, and then we're going to come back and talk with our guest, Bob Doyle from The Secret. Okay, here we go. You can do this. No problem. Hello?
Yes, is this Bob Doyle from The Secret?
Yes, who's this?
Marty McGlide. I represent the Bob Doyle Show.
The what now?
The Bob Doyle Show. It's an internet program. We'd like to see if you'd be interested in being a guest.
Okay, I have not heard of this show. What's the general idea?
Well, he talks to people who make the world a happier place.
Okay, and you say this is an internet show? Is it video or audio?
It would be video.
Is it live or recorded?
Normally he records them, but this one would be live.
Okay, and how big is his audience?
I'm sorry I didn't catch that last question. Listen, it's this Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific.
Wow, okay. It's kind of short notice, but I might be able to make it work. I have to ask you a brutally honest question.
Sure, of course.
This Bob Doyle, he's the host?
That's right.
Is he any good?
I'm sorry.
I don't mean to sound like a prima donna, but sometimes these hosts can be...
Boring?
Yeah.
It's not, boring, exactly.
Okay, I don't know what that means.
So, is that a yes?
Okay, I will do it, but I do have one or two things I'm going to need.
Okay.
Okay, so, and I know this is going to sound weird at first, but I'm going to need the host to wear the exact same shirt that I'm going to wear.
Okay, and what shirt is that?
A black collared shirt.
Can I ask why?
No.
Okay, what else?
I'm also going to need a pile of wintergreen lifesavers in a bowl of some kind, wherever this, just delivered to the studio wherever I'm going to be.
Well, you're in luck there. Okay, so I'll have some underling in my organization talk to some underling in your organization and let them handle the details.
Okay, perfect. But don't forget, a black collared shirt or I'm out of there. All right, so that's why I had to wear a shirt, a black collared shirt, because he demanded it. That's weird. I'm sorry, that's weird. That's getting this whole thing off to a weird start. And I'm going to have to ask him about it. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are. It's the show you've been waiting for almost 48 hours, where I will be talking with someone. In 2006, a movie hit the scene, got a lot of attention, and even sparked a little bit of controversy. That movie, of course, is Crash. It won the Academy Award, and a lot of people feel like it was the most undeserving of all Academy Award winners. But also in that year, 2006, another film was released. A little film with an intriguing title with lots of mystery around it. I'm talking about, of course, The Secret. Now, this is not a film. This is a book. This is a book based on the film. I just didn't have a copy of the film. Okay, but this should suffice, right? I mean, it's so. And when you open, get your copy. Do you have your copy? Just making sure. Anyone copy? No. Okay. When you open to page 190, you'll see this young fella, name of Bob Doyle. Bob Doyle's creator and facilitator, blah, 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 multimedia, law of attraction, science, etc., awesome relationships, anything else you desire. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Bob Doyle. Thank you very much. Bob, it's great to have you here. I'd love to say that you are a long-time requested guest, but that's not really true. I get it. I want you to be honest. And I have to be honest. It's a relationship that I have created with my audience. They expect it. I want to honor it, and I appreciate the fact that you will help me honor it. Absolutely. I believe in authenticity and an authentic connection relationship as well. But is that what you wanted to talk about today? No, not at all. I'm not exactly sure. I didn't get a list of questions for you, so I did just a little bit of research myself, and I've got a few questions for you, if you don't mind my asking. No, that's pretty much what I thought this was going to happen. It's an interview, right? So you're here to ask me questions, and then I answer them, and then I guess information is propagated through the exchange of words. Yeah, that was my plan too. Okay, so great, we're on the same page. But I cannot even go another step further without asking about like the shirt. Like, what's the big deal with me wearing the exact same shirt as you? Well, I watched that you had shown that little video clip, which, by the way, I don't know how you got that video of me. We're going to have a conversation about that. But, I told your person there that I didn't really want to talk about why you're supposed to wear that shirt. Yeah, I know. But see, this is a hard-hitting interview show. And while I don't mean to make you uncomfortable, put you on the spot, I mean, I respect all the alleged work you've done in the world and things like that. But I mean, I want to understand why I had to, because I was going to wear something totally different, which was way more comfortable. And then so I kind of get the message from above, by the way, you got to wear a black, collared shirt. And I'm like, that's specific. Like, what's the deal with that? Look, do you know anything about marketing? I was just talking about marketing. You ever heard of branding? Yes, I've heard of branding. Well, this is a branding thing. And so I just make it a requirement that when I'm on a show that the people who interview me wear the exact same thing so my branding is consistent. But isn't branding more like, I'm totally not understanding this. I can see that I've confused you, and that's why I try not to bring it up, because now here we are talking about why I asked you to do something perfectly reasonable. Well, that's debatable. It's a clothing choice. I mean, I don't, look, I'm your guest and you're the host, and I didn't even want to talk about this. I didn't know this was going to be something that was brought up. Well, that's the thing about, we do our research here, right? And we leave no stone unturned. And so, I just unturned a stone, if you will. Yeah, okay, I get it. I just think that I probably, given my background and what I'm here to talk about, we could talk about other things other than the shirt. Did you get your lifesavers? Yes, I did. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Don't really understand why you needed candy. It's not unusual for guests to have certain requests to make their stay in the studio more comfortable. Yeah, but my clothing choice? You're really stuck on this shirt thing. All right. You're absolutely right. So, The Secret. What's up with that? Can you be just the slightest bit more specific? All right, so The Secret came out in 2000 whatever 2006. Actually, the film itself was released on the internet in 2005, and then the DVD was released to the general public in 2006. Okay, I feel like you're nickel and diming me here with the years. Wow, you know what? I gotta say, I've heard through the grapevine that you can be tricky as an interviewer. Okay, you know what? I'm hearing that so much. And I feel like that's an unfair accusation. Yeah, but look how difficult we are. I don't even know how many minutes we are into our actual conversation. We haven't even talked about, law of attraction. I said The Secret, what's up with that? Okay, but that's not, I feel like there's got to be more to your interview than The Secret, what's up with that? Well, what if there isn't? Well, then I feel like we're wasting an enormous amount of everyone's time. All right. I do have other questions. I just wanted to see if, you'd be a sport about this. I feel like I like to have a good time. I feel like I'm kind of almost known for bringing sort of a lightness to this conversation. Well, then why is this such a heavy conversation for you? It's not. I'm great. Everything is fine. So what's it like to work with Marcy Shimoff? Okay. Well, she's lovely. Really. Yeah. I haven't talked to her in a while. Did you guys have a falling out? No, it's just been a while. What does she do? She didn't do anything. What'd you do? I didn't do anything. I just haven't called her. There must be some reason. I mean, you guys were friends, right? Yeah, I still consider her a friend, but you refuse to talk to her. I'm not refusing to talk to her. Who else don't you talk to? What do you mean, like in The Secret? Yeah, like in The Secret. I talk to a lot of them, just not every day. Because you don't like them? No, because they don't like you. Look, you can't just talk to everybody you know every single day. And just because I was in a movie with these people, however many years ago, doesn't mean that we stay in communication. And just because I haven't talked to Marcy in a while doesn't mean that I'm mad at her, that she's mad at me. How do you know she's not? I guess I don't. So where can we learn more about this feud between you and Marcy Shimoff? There's not a feud between me and Marcy Shimoff. I'm not feuding with anybody in The Secret just because I'm... Sorry, I left my phone on. That's bad interview form. Is this like your first time being interviewed on a show? Because, normally turning off your cell phone is one of the first things you do. It's not my first time. I was rushed a little bit. I came in here and I'm sorry. I've turned it off now. You can edit this out. No, it's live. Right. Okay, I forgot about that. Sorry. Maybe what we could do is just get into talking about something that would be helpful for people. Yeah, we could do that. Let's see what people need. Anybody have a question for this guy? Let's look at your... yeah, we're not getting along. What? We're not getting along? What do you mean, Victoria? I'm just... what do you say? Still have them, Lisbeth says. I'm not sure what this looks very difficult to make. I'm lost. I think these guys are watching another show, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so Bob, are you still there? Yeah, I'm here for the duration. Really, you don't have a place you have to go. You don't have to cut this short for any reason. It's not like you got another thing to do. No, I was told to block out, the hour. Hour. Okay. Do you have an hour of stuff to talk about? I'm sure I could come up with an hour of stuff to talk about, but I thought you were going to ask me questions. About what? Okay, well, I've got, there's stuff I'm up to. Really? Yeah. What are you up to? Oh, wow, you are making this really hard. We did send a list of questions to your people. Yeah, I don't like to use those. I feel like those are a crutch, and I just like to use my natural curiosity to dig into what the guest is about. Okay, but you're not really... I don't see the curiosity. You're just questions that are completely irrelevant. They may be irrelevant to you, but maybe I've got a plan. Maybe I've got a strategy here. Maybe I've got something going on in my mind. Do you? No, but I'm saying maybe I could, and there's no way for you to know that unless you're also psychic. Are you? No, I'm not psychic. Okay, I didn't think so. So maybe we could just stick to the topic, which is The Secret. Awesome. Okay. So you were picked to be in the secret because why? Well, okay, is that a serious question? Why would I not ask a serious question? This is an interview. Okay, just based on how things have been going so far. What do you mean by that? Well, just because we've been, kind of all over the place. You've been all, look, I know what I'm doing. I've been hosting this show a while. Yeah, and I've been answering questions like this for a while. I feel like I kind of know what I'm doing here too, but I really don't feel like we should be having this conversation in front of everybody. I don't either. It seems very unprofessional on your part. Look, what questions do you have? Okay, good. Finally, we can get down to business. So you were chosen to be in the secret because you had, I guess, a unique view of teaching it. Well, at that time, I was really focused on more the science of the law of attraction, the physics of it, to sort of bridge the gap between the woo-woo and the science of it. So there is a science. Yes. Okay, and so you studied the science and then you taught the science. Yes. And then that got you in the secret. Yeah, but man, that's a really clumsy way to describe it. Well, how would you describe it? Well, I was trying to, but you kind of jumped in. So, I kind of have a way I tell the story. I've been doing it a while. Right, but see, I don't want you to do the same old scripted thing. Like, I want us to have a real, genuine conversation where you just, like it's raw and it's real and you're not just doing the pat answers. Okay, well, I'm not trying to avoid truth here, but I mean, there is a certain way that I got involved with The Secret, and I just thought I'd tell you. Did I ask you how you got involved with The Secret? Honestly, I do not remember. I'm not sure that I did. Okay. What is your question? Okay, so you got into The Secret because you were teaching the science. Right, see, you said that and I was just confirming it. Yeah, but then you went on this whole rabbit trail about, first I did this and I don't know what. I didn't ask about any of that. All right, well, I will just do my best to answer your exact questions and nothing else. Okay, great. So back then you taught the science and you were kind of known for that, sort of a grounded view of the law of attraction. And that was sort of your voice in The Secret, if I've got that right. That's correct. All right, but now, recently, I'm hearing that you're sort of approaching it from a different angle, not so much emphasis on the science. Yeah, and why is that? Well, it's not that there's anything wrong with understanding the science. I mean, it really did help me. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't have my aha moments about the science of all of this. But what I found is over the years of teaching sort of the technicalities of it all, that people are beginning to kind of get bogged down, and they're looking at the law of attraction and its practical implementation as something to get wrong, or a technique, a personal development tool. It's just classified wrong in their head, and they're losing focus of what's really important in all of this. And what is that? Well, it's creating a life that you really, really love. And so you're saying that people aren't using the law of attraction correctly? Well, I'm just saying that a lot of times people skip some of the most important parts of the process. So you are saying it's a process. Okay, I don't mean it like that I'm just saying if you're going to get intentional about using the law of attraction, so it is a tool. No, it's not a tool. Let me rephrase it. Working with what is the law of attraction. What is the law of attraction? All right, so let's back up. I teach it a little bit differently than other people. Say like attracts like, all this other stuff, what you focus on expands, and all of this. I think that's kind of what's getting people to think of it like a tool, like a neat little trick or whatever. But when I talk about the law of attraction, I'm talking about sort of the energetic nature of the universe, and that we're all connected and that we only live in the now and all of this. But I also have a basic belief that the reason we are here as human beings is to create a life that we love. And so what does that mean? What does that mean? Okay, so I was going to actually answer that. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, now you're just saying it again. I am so sorry. A life that you love isn't necessarily about acquiring the stuff. And a lot of times when people begin with the law of attraction, they immediately they get the question, what do I really want? What do I want to attract with all this? And of course they go to things like, oh, I want $1 million, or I want the house, and all of these other things. Yeah, that sounds great. Why wouldn't anyone want that? I'm not saying they don't want it. I'm just saying that it may not really be, like, just going for that may not be enough to keep them in action and inspired enough to do what you need to do to get those things if it's not in alignment with who they really are. That was a mouthful. All right, let me break it down. We are born and we have these passions and interests as we grow up, right? Yes, I did. And so, ideally, our life would be filled with doing those things because it makes us feel good, right? I mean, what feels better than doing the thing you love to do? I can't think of anything. Right. So, wouldn't it be great if your life was designed to be able to do that? And that's what I'm suggesting is the case, that we are here to have this ultimate, wonderful, juicy, sensual human experience because we have the ability to have an imagination, to dream, to have a goal, to feel things. We have this our entire range of senses just so we can feel and touch and smell and really experience the universe of which we are all a part. You're kind of getting preachy. I just get a little passionate sometimes. So, but we've lost track of that over the course of time. And with all the techniques that have come up, and when The Secret came out, there was this huge just flood in the marketplace of all these people selling law of attraction programs, 3 steps, blah, blah, blah. And they weren't complete, and they didn't have all the information, and people got jaded, and then they just threw the baby out with the bathwater. That paints a horrible picture. It does. I'm in agreement with you. So now it's just like this big joke for some people. And they don't understand. They just don't understand that all of these thoughts and these emotions they're having and these beliefs that they're clinging to of limitation and what's possible and what's not possible is actually creating that as a future for them. Okay, so see, that sounds kind of woo-woo, and before you were talking about science. I know it sounds woo-woo. It's because it's science we don't get taught. So, my focus recently has been more on helping people get clear on what they really want their life to be, what the experience that they want to have. But I'm teaching them the most important thing is not what do you want to have first, but who do you want to be. Can you flesh that out a little bit? Absolutely. So we are, as adults especially, we're wired through our environment, our parents and our teachers and society and relationships, and we start to live into other people's expectations. We don't want to upset people. We don't want to make people sad. We don't want to disappoint people. We don't want to be embarrassed. All of those things, right? So that causes us to be in a way in the world that isn't necessarily who we really truly want to be, who would inspire us. And so, but we don't even realize it's happening. And then we just wake up one day and we just don't feel satisfied, right? We're not doing what we want to do. We feel like there's got to be something more. And the answer is yes, there is something more. It's that life that you've been craving your entire life. That was poorly worded. That was really worded poorly. Look, it's early and I've had a lot of coffee. Me too. All right, so let's just get back to the basic idea. What would happen in your life if you grew up and no one ever told you couldn't do anything? How much time do I have to think about that answer? It's kind of a rhetorical question in the sense that this is an interview and I'm really not going to wait for you to figure that out. But I want the people at home to kind of be asking themselves that. Speaking of the people at home, we should check in on them. Sarah's saying that mixed energy can kill any vision. So we'll ask you about that. And Murray, I was wondering the same thing. What did Murray? I wonder if anyone told Bob Doyle that he resembles Bob Doyle from the Bob Doyle Show. You're saying that we look alike? That you can't be saying that. I mean, hold on. Let me just look at it. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it either. And they may be, like I said, I think some of these people are watching a different show. So no one has ever told me that because clearly that would, who would say that? All right, so getting back to the question that I saw, the statement, mixed energy can kill any vision. Do you have any comment on that? Yes. So let's go with the supposition that we are reality creation machines. Seems like a leap. Okay, I just said let's go with the supposition because I just was kind of saying that we're part of the universe and energy and thought, yeah, but I feel like to go from that to we're reality creation machines is a huge leap. Okay? Can we go with the supposition? You really like saying supposition? Okay, it's a good word and it is exactly what I mean. So if we could go with the assumption, is that better? Yeah, it's not quite as pretentious. All right. Let's go with the assumption that we are, in fact, here to create our realities. And our realities are created with our thoughts. What we're sending, the message that we're sending to the universe that this is what? No, I just mean this, everything that I'm experiencing is what? It just exists. This is, an elephant in my hand is not. You see? Do you get that? Okay, it just seems like it's like a sentence fragment or something. I do a lot of voiceover and I'm really sensitive to that kind of stuff. Okay, so we're always sending I'm just going to gloss. I'm going to assume that the audience gets what we're talking about, gets what I'm saying. Why would you assume that? I'm kind of the conduit for the audience. I should be like the representation of the audience. We're going to go with the assumption that we're here to create a life that we love, and that we do that by holding a vision of what we think is real in the moment. I'm sure you've heard of the expression like acting as if, all of that stuff. Yes, I've heard all of that. Okay. And that is what is literally moving energy into motion to create our reality. Now see, I'm sorry, that just sounds ridiculously woo-woo. You're talking about moving energy and all of that other stuff. Do you understand that everything is energy? Yes, I understand that everything is energy. Everything in the universe, yes, including your thoughts. Sure. And beliefs, all of it. And that we're all connected, obviously, because if everything is energy, it means that there's no real separation between you and me. Okay, sure. And so if I have a thought, if I have an energetic thought that's charged by emotion, right? And I experience it fully, that energy, that goes somewhere. That's connected to the rest of everything. Seems like a leap, but I guess I can't argue that logic. Good, because that would just waste even more time. So Sarah mentioned mixed signals. So a lot of people learn about this law of attraction thing, right? And then they go, okay, I'm going to visualize, and they sit down and they visualize their whatever, and they get all, oh, this feels great, and yes, I'm feeling it now. And then they end their meditation or visualization or whatever, and they go, okay, back to the crap. How do you know that people say crap? A lot of people are offended by that word. Ken, this is just an example. It doesn't really matter. I feel like you're looking at details that are irrelevant. It's making me want a piece of candy. Please don't eat candy during the show. I've got a piece of candy here, and I was going to try and eat mine while you answered a question. So we would have to time it where I ask a question. You see, it's just not, we can't do it. All right, so I'm going to invite you to wait until after the show, and I will too, right? Deal. All right, so you were saying something about reality creation. Yes, that we're doing it all the time. And the mixed signals thing, this is key. Because this is really what's happening with everybody who, quote unquote, tries the law of attraction and it doesn't work. They send a signal, they get into the feeling of having it now. They actually do put energy into motion in that moment. But when they get out of that state and go back to their, quote unquote, real life and start, going on this again, they're sending a totally different signal. So it is no wonder that some people have mixed results. They'll say, oh, the law of attraction seemed to work great for me one day, and then all this happened. And it's because you're not sending a consistent signal. You can't pull yourself off the grid. Nothing is hidden. So we're so programmed to think negatively and think in terms of what could go wrong that it just seems more natural to think that way. In fact, it seems like that's the responsible thing to do, to think ahead and plan for the worst and all these other things. But you have to think about the emotional reaction that you're having when you think that way. And it's this slow burn, it's this constant signal, and it's always going to create that future. Where are you getting all this? Well, you get it from lots of places. But I'm going to tell you right now that one of the biggest aha moments I've had in the past couple of decades is rereading the book Science of Getting Rich. Science. We were talking about science before. Right. See, I'm just going to bring it all around. Perfect. I love it when that happens. Right. So Science of Getting Rich, written in 1910, long time ago. Wallace D. Wattles, right? And when I first started learning about the law of attraction, it was one of the first books I read. But I'm going to be honest with you, if I can be honest. I hope you have always. I hope you've been being honest this whole time. I have. Don't worry. Okay, good, because I don't need liars on this show. First time I read it, and I'm being honest about this right now, is I feel like I skimmed it. It was like, oh, I get this. Okay, sure, I get it. And I read it like it was sort of like metaphorical or like, I don't know, just not as literal. Okay, and I felt like it was almost like a beginner's thing and basic. I couldn't understand why people like Bob Proctor would have studied this thing for decades and decades and decades. What are they getting out of this? But what I did not do is go back and look at it to try and figure out why until like a year ago or so, a little bit over a year ago. So what happened there? Well, I was at actually like a sort of a networking meeting, and they gave the book out as a gift. And I said, well, and I kind of took on at that time that I wanted to read a book every week, starting at that time. Did you keep up with that? Well, I did for a while. I did kind of fall off of that. So do you have like a rationalization as to why you did that? Sure. Yeah. I got a whole library of rationalizations. Me too. We should compare notes. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Maybe we should. Anyway, the point is, I reread it, and it just hit me in a totally different way. Why do you think that is? Well, honestly, I think it's because I spent so much time teaching, like the science of it and so on, that now I could read the book and read it literally and understand that this doesn't have to be sort of metaphorical speak. I can read this as written and understand that, wow, this really is the real deal. This is what you need to know, and you don't really need to know much more than this. And that we, sort of the industry, the personal development industry, in an attempt to package it up or make it 1, 2, 3, has made it way more complicated. And I almost feel like, I contributed to that inadvertently, because I did focus on, techniques and the science and all that. So basically what you're saying is that anyone who has tried the law of attraction and not gotten results can blame you. No, I'm not. I hope that they don't. I was doing my best, right? And I clearly, look, I wouldn't have been, I feel like I have to defend myself. Well, I didn't ask you to get defensive. It feels like you're just kind of doing that yourself. Okay. So I'm going to stop being defensive and just get back to addressing the question. So as I was reading The Science of Getting Rich, which is basically an easy read, but I'm going, wow, okay, yes, this is true, and we don't need all this other stuff, and this is only complicated. The only thing, the most important thing you need to do in all of this is be clear on who you want to be and what your life wants to look like, and hold that vision. But it's very difficult because we're so freaking wired, and we get pulled in all directions, and we're putting out fires all the time. But like Sarah mentioned, that causes this mixed energy where we're sending stuff out that's like sporadic because we're allowing ourselves to get sucked into our experience and calling this reality as if this is what is our future. It's not. We created this yesterday or the day before or whatever with thoughts that we sent out earlier. And if it seems sporadic, guess what? We were probably having some sporadic thoughts or worried about something, the future coming or whatever it is, and now it's showing up. And so our goal here is to learn how to really just stay clear on what you want to do, what you want your life to be, how you want it to feel, and let the natural process of creation happen automatically without overthinking it. Because every time you have a thought about it, I don't know if this is working, I don't know if I believe this, I don't know, it's just throwing that doubt in there. So how can people change that wiring? Because I'm hearing what you're saying, and I actually enjoy the study of wiring and hormones and things like that. Like, I totally get what you're saying. So we have agreement there. So, but how is it that since the wiring is so strong, what do we do to do whatever's necessary to rewire? That is a great question because it does take consistency. We've spent years, right, programming ourselves and in getting this way of being. To even consider a new way of being is going to be wildly uncomfortable, and left to our own devices, it's probably not going to work because we come up against our own stuff. Our ego says, no, you can't be, do, or have that because of all of this stuff, all of this evidence that I can show you right now, and here it is. And then you go, oh yeah, that evidence, that's true, and then so you stop or you compromise. You go, well, I guess all those limiting thoughts are true. And I can't have, be, or do this or whatever. But I'll keep trying. I'll keep reading the books. I'll keep doing the programs. But really my belief is I guess I'm just not going to do it. And my ego is going to stop me every single time. So how do you get past that? Are you asking me because I thought you would know that? I do know that. I'm just, again, rhetorical question. This is just a style of interview and conversation. Well, it's a little bit confusing to me, I got to say. Okay, I'm sorry. So what I started to do, I do a lot of, or I have done a lot of group coaching in the past. And that, that involved like weekly meetings and calls and Q&As and coaching and all of this stuff. But near the end of one of our last sessions, once I started reading Science of Getting Rich again and got really inspired by it, we started bringing chapter studies into where we used to do Q&A sessions. We would study the book chapter by chapter and really dig in deep and sort of, again, bridge the gap of how maybe I used to teach it a long time ago and bring it into and simplify everything and say, and that's why this simple method will work. Okay, so basically you're taking years of sort of teaching that got a little tangled up in techniques and processes and all that, and saying, here's how what you learn from that, you can apply it in a much more simple way. Yeah, that's basically it. And I'm finding that, by going through sentence by sentence almost and saying, what do they really mean here? Because we so want to interpret. We want to put meaning behind some of this stuff because it was written 100 years ago or whatever. We go, well, they couldn't mean that. They must mean something else, because didn't they talk, poetically and in metaphor back then, or whatever? But no, I mean, the very first part of the book, the preface of the book, says, this is not that kind of book. This is exactly as written. If you do this, you cannot help but get rich. What are you looking at over there? Well, I can see I've got a comment screen over here too. I was just peeking. Well, you shouldn't peek at the comments when you're talking to me, because then you're like this, and it's just not good. It's just not good broadcasting. Okay, I'll try not to. I just want to make sure I'm serving the people's needs. I'll handle all of that. So you just continue, because you were on a roll and now you're just completely derailed. Okay, but you're the one who called attention to the fact that I looked off screen. I mean, I feel like I was just going forward. Maybe we could just get back on track and you could stop being so defensive all the time. Okay, so through the process of going through the book, we get reintroduced to the basic fundamentals of creation and how human beings work and how it all happens. And when you read it, like literally, and stop trying to add meaning to it, it actually becomes so simple and freeing. So what I've done is I've created, so we did that in the groups, and now you mentioned that I'm up to something. I think those were your words, right? You've got a new program or whatever, right? And this program is around that. It's basically, I'm making that chapter study that we did privately open to the public. But first, I really want people to get refamiliarized with the book. If they haven't read the book, I'm giving away a copy, and they could just go download that and start to read. But isn't this book kind of already in the public? So basically, you're saying you're giving away a book that's already in the public domain. What's up with that? Okay, I get your point. But I did write a special foreword for the book. But here's the real thing about the book, is it's also going to have links in it to the chapter study. So every chapter you read, there's that. And then you can link to a video where we dig in deep. And you have access to a community and the support, because one of the other things that I mentioned was, if you're doing this alone, it's the first time you come up against, some real resistance, a belief system that's really solidified, and your ego says, you can't change because otherwise I die, your identity dies. If you don't have support, some kind of coaching or some people who are a stand for you, what are you going to do? Is this another one of your rhetorical questions? Yes, it is, but you could answer it. Well, then I guess I'll answer rhetorically. I would quit probably, because I wouldn't have the resources or the ahas or whatever to be able to move forward. Exactly. So what we're trying to do is provide an environment and enough aha moments to help you to rewire. But you can't just, with any program, one of the reasons that I kind of de-emphasize the push of like my early digital programs is because, I realize that as in my position, I can't make you do a program. I can't make you go through it. If you get stuck and you stop, I have no way of knowing. So that's why I started doing coaching, so that I could actually be in touch with the people who I'm talking to, so I could help them when they get stuck. And so that's what the framework of this whole program is. You come in, we do chapter studies, and then there's ongoing support so that you can implement this stuff. It's really about just getting that rewiring happening. Now, along the way, we'll use the tools that I think you're familiar with. I think you talked to Brad Yates a couple of weeks ago and Steve G. Jones last week. So these tools that deal with resistance that comes up. And explain again, just you keep saying resistance. Well, these are just energetically, these are sort of the energy of your limiting thoughts and your beliefs and things like that. They are literally working like a force field to keep this future that you want from happening, because you're creating an energy that is not in alignment. So the attraction process basically stops. Okay, I think I get that. And so EFT and these other things, they lower that force field. So now the thing that you're trying to attract can basically get to you. Exactly. But to be able to do that, you have to be sending a consistent signal. And that does take time, because the very foundation of who we are is so wired. So the support, the repeated stuff, going through the comfort zone, having the tools, when you get up against that tough stuff and you go, I can't, I'm just, it's too much. So you use your EFT or you listen to a hypnosis CD or you come to the group and you ask, hey, this is what's happening for me, and then you move through it. I think, based on who I'm seeing in your group there, let me look. You've got some people who have, I see that there are people who have been in your groups before, I guess. Yeah, these are people who have been in my coaching group and they have experienced this and know that this approach can be more fun, more light, more playful, more creative. And I seem to be talking for you right now. Yes, I was wondering, how are you channeling what I was going to say? Well, I don't know. See, that's what I'm saying. When I tune into my guest, I can almost answer for them. I got to say, I'm pretty impressed because you said that exactly how I would say it. Well, look, we've had, half hour or so together, 40 minutes. I feel like I'm getting to kind of get your vibe. So I'll bet you I could probably teach this stuff at this point. I wouldn't go that far. See, that's the problem. What happened years ago? All these people say, "Oh, I get it. You imagine this," and then boom, right? So I'm going to package it. It sounds like what you're doing. It sounds like you had a little bit of an aha moment while we talked, and then you just got into some sort of flow, and you just start, let me try on being Bob Doyle from The Secret, and I don't know. It was a pretty good effort. It was a pretty good effort. I wasn't really trying. It just I don't know. It just came over me. Well, all right. So we can stop talking about it now, right? Yeah, I think we should just, I don't even know why we're calling extra attention to it. I don't know either, because we could be talking about other things. What would you like to talk about? Well, how about how they can download the free book? Well, we've been showing this URL here down at the bottom. Yeah, I've been seeing that. bobdoyleshow.com/rich. And what happens when they go there? Well, they fill out a form. Does this form cost them anything to fill out? No, it doesn't. It's free. It's a free form. Go on. And then they'll get the book. What else will they get? I'm glad you asked, because the book is not the only thing they'll get. I'm starting to understand. There's a little bit of there's a strategy here, right? Yes, because if I just send them the book, how do I know they're going to do anything with it? I don't see how you can. Actually, I don't, but I do what I can to make sure that they are reading it. They're getting some ahas. There's a little video in there to help them get started and all of that. We're doing our best. And then if they want to come in and do the full study, they can do that too. So tell us a little bit about that program, and try not to sound like an advertisement. Okay. Well, it's not launched yet. So why are you talking about it? Because I want people to know about it before it's launched, and there is an opportunity to get into the program early before we launch it. Well, if it's not launched yet, how can they benefit from a program that isn't launched? Again, you say you're a marketer, but this makes no sense to me. Okay, well, if you'd let me, actually sort of finish, you could understand that what we're offering is sort of an early bird special. That's cute. And if they were to enroll in the program now before we actually launch it in mid-July, then they'll get it as it rolls out because we're in the process of creating it. So it's not even done yet. Look, this is just, trust me on this. I don't believe you said you were a marketer. I've done some marketing. Okay, but all right, the point is we're rolling this out, and they'll get early access to it and a couple of other little things. All the details, they can find that later. You said you didn't want to turn this into an advertisement. No, I don't. I think that's tacky. Okay, you just asked a question you said about, and so I'm just telling you. And then if people are interested, they can go, and look, why wouldn't I tell them if they can get a discount? It just sounds, obvious. Well, yes, it's obvious. I want to give them, look, okay. Point is, they can go get this book and they can start this learning. And what I would invite them to do is, if they're not really actually ready for that, full-on commitment or whatever, just commit to reading the book. And I would just say, I invite you to read it this time, or if you've read it before, or if you've never read it, read it for what it is and try it. And then the only other thing I'd say, as just sort of a tip, because normally people ask me, something like, okay, well, we're wrapping up. We're kind of out of time here, which we are almost out of time with you. Okay, I thought we had like a full hour. Yeah, but I like to say some things at the end. All right, the point is, boy, you just so derail me. See, that's the thing is that I think I think that you are derailing yourself and you're trying to blame me. Why would I look? I kind of like, can I just finish the whole what the program is? Yeah, that's what why you're here, I guess. It's one of the reasons. I just want people to have okay, read the book and do it. Figure out who you want to be. This is if I could just drill this into your head. Sounds violent. If I could just really make this point, please determine who you want to be in the world, because I promise you that if your circumstances are not what you want them to be, if you're not happy enough, if you're not loving enough, if you don't feel enough passion, if you don't feel abundant enough, I promise you it's because you're not being in the world exactly who you want to be. You're doing some watered down version. You're doing a safe version. You're not fully playing out who you want to be. You're hearing the voices, you're hearing the wiring, you're believing all of that. And I'm inviting you to start to play with creating a vision that truly excites you, and do all the stuff the law of attraction people say. Get into the sensuality of it. Feel it, smell it, taste it, hear it. But don't do it from a place of I want to solve all of these problems. Do it from a place of I want to create this. And the past has nothing to do with what is possible or impossible for me, because I am completely and always connected to the universe and creating in every single moment. So all I have to do is decide what I want and hold that vision and take action, and so on and so forth, this journey through the co-creation process, and allow it to happen. You make it sound pretty simple. It is simple. So then why isn't everybody doing it? For all the reasons I said a million times. We're wired. Years of it. And our ego is clinging to this identity that wants to totally justify all the things that are quote unquote wrong or not enough in our life and tell us why we can't have them. And that's why it will always be tricky. You will always feel uncomfortable, and why most people fail when they come to personal development, because they're up against, because the whole idea of personal development is changing yourself in some way. Yourself is your ego. Its purpose is to keep you that. And if you threaten that, it will scream and do whatever it takes. It will say whatever, because it knows you very well, because it is you. It knows exactly what to say to have you stop taking action. So unless you've got some sort of support, I can almost guarantee that you will not get where you want to go. And I'm not trying to be a negative Nelly. I was just going to say you sound kind of like a negative Nelly. Do you really use that term? No. But oddly, I was going to say it this time, and then you said it. You're right. I guess we are tuned in. But that's the one thing, if I could just, because that, again, there's no requirement for people to spend their lives studying this stuff. It is our natural state. My goal here with this particular course is to it's sort of like a, hey, here's a reminder of our nature. And just stay with this for as long as you need, until your predominant way of thinking and being is more congruent with who you truly want to be and the results that you want to have in your life. And if you need the help, we can help you with this. And if you want to do it on your own, the book is right there, and it's really all you need to know. All right. Well, I gotta say, I feel I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued at the idea that this whole reality creation thing can be simple, and that it doesn't have to be so personal development-y, and it really can be as simple as just deciding what we want to be. Right. And then that will inform what you truly want to have. Because a lot of times we think we want all of this, but it's based on who we've been being. So we let lack and worry and that kind of stuff dictate what we want. Again, we're in problem-solving mode instead of reality creation mode, and that's not what we want to do. Okay, you've said that. I get it. But sometimes it's good to repeat things. I wouldn't know anything about that. I never repeat anything. And I've never said anything more than once. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for joining us with this interview with Mr. Doyle. And Mr. Doyle, I do appreciate your time and expertise in this conversation. I'm going to let you go now, and you all may be seated. Let's check in with the comments. Any other questions? Our guest is gone. He's already, I can see, I'm looking at the monitor. He bolted out of there like a bat out of hell. Which, I don't know. Why are bats in hell? What do they do? Or I guess they're not in hell. They're out of hell. Like it's a bat out of hell. So the bat is in hell going, what am I doing here? I'm out. And I assume, because it's hot or whatever, and very uncomfortable, it leaves early or fast. So it's like a bat out of hell because, ouch, hell, right? All right. Well, that was it. We did it. We did another Bob Doyle show. We had another guest. It's already kind of fading from my memory, but I think there's a link, and I'll follow it and figure out what we just talked about. And I hope that you enjoyed it. Please leave comments. And the other thing that I keep forgetting to say is, while you have been great in the chats, and it's always great to have you in the chats, and please don't ever not be in the chat, I also invite you to comment on the show itself on the page right there on YouTube. Leave full-blown YouTube comments, what you liked, what you didn't like, guest suggestions, all of it. We want to hear from you. We want this to be interactive, because this is... It's the Bob Doyle Show. Just wanted to talk up to the post. It's the Bob Doyle Show. It's the Bob Doyle Show.